Okay, so looking at the equations of circles page. Now, if we look at the equation of a circle, we have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where h comma k, so hk is going to be the center coordinates of the circle, and r, not r squared, but r is going to represent the radius. So on 8 and 9 here, we ended up having to draw the circle. And if we look at the equation they gave us, we have a positive 2 in the parentheses here, and then we actually have nothing with the y. It's just y squared. So first of all, I would figure out what the center coordinates of the circle are based on that. Now remember, this parenthesis is x minus h. So when we have x plus 2 here, you might be tempted to say that 2 is the x-coordinate, but remember, 2 is equal to minus h. So if we did 2 equals minus h, we would end up having to divide by -1 on both sides, and we would find out that h is -2. Or, if you don't want to overthink it, just change the sign of the second term in the parentheses, and then you have your coordinate. So positive 2 here means we have a -2 for the x-coordinate. Now, I already mentioned that y doesn't have anything in parentheses with it, and that's because the equation would have originally said y minus 0. So you don't have to write the minus 0, so that's where the y squared comes from. So the y coordinate here, simply 0. After that, it's tempting to say that 16 is the radius, but remember, according to the equation, the term by itself is r squared. So 16 equals the radius squared. We're going to have to take the square root of both sides to find out that the radius is 4. Now, when you make your sketch, the way that I do it is I just count vertically, whatever I got for the radius. Then I'll go down after that, and then I'm going to go to the left and to the right. So I'm going to set up my radii there, each having a length of 4. And then I, do my best to draw a good sketch there of a circle. Looking at 9. So on this one, x is by itself, so the x-coordinate here is going to be 0. We have an x minus 0 squared is where that came from. And then if we look here at the second parentheses, remember, just change the sign of the second term, and you have your coordinate. So -1 is going to become +1 for the y-coordinate of our center. Now from there, we know that the term by itself is the radius squared, so r squared equals 9. We take the square root of both sides and find out that we got a radius of 3. Now again on the sketch, I'm going 3 units up, 3 units down from the center, 3 units left and 3 units right, and then again doing my best to draw a good circle there. Alright, so while we're at it, we'll take a look at the next page. Now this time around, they didn't give us the equation. We're making the equation of each circle, but they give us the center point and the radius. So the first thing I do on these examples is I just label the center points h and k, because then I can just plug right into the equation. So x minus h, and remember h is -2 here, squared, plus y minus k, and k is a positive 3, so we have y minus 3 there, equals the radius squared, so equals 5 squared. When we have 2 negatives listed in a row, if you're subtracting a negative, it becomes a positive. So I'm going to end up switching this parentheses to just be x plus 2 squared, and then we have plus y minus 3 squared. Nothing changes there. Equals, and when we square out the 5, we end up with 25. Now again, same process for the next one. I'm just going to label my first coordinate h, my second one k, and plug right in. So we have x minus -1 squared plus y minus -4 squared equals our radius 2 squared. Now this time around, we have the subtracting a negative happening twice, so we're going to change those into positives. We're going to square out that radius, and then the final equation is going to be x plus 1 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 4. Now our last one, the center's at the origin, so it's 0, 0 for those coordinates. Now, I plugged in here just to show you guys the process, how it gets straight to x squared plus y squared. I don't need you to plug in the zeros if you can figure out that, x squared and y squared are just going to be by themselves. There won't be a parentheses because we don't have, a coordinate with any value. Anyways, the diameter is 4, so I just caught myself with a little mistake. So if the diameter is 4, we want to do 4 divided by 2 to figure out that the radius is 2. So I'm going to go ahead and change my work real quick. So we got 2 squared there instead of the 4 squared I originally had. Just caught that mistake. So the radius squared, 2 squared, is actually going to give us 4 for that answer. So we end up with a final answer there of x squared plus y squared equals 4. So I'll have that answer key fixed by the time you guys see this, but, catching a mistake on the fly there. All right, email me if you have any questions.